If you've been scrolling through endless lists of rotary lasers, watching video after video about the best model, and still feel like you're staring at a wall of numbers that don't translate to a day on the job, you're not alone. Most of us end up wondering whether the extra features are worth the extra price, or if we're just paying for a brand name. That hesitation can end up costing you time, money, and a lot of frustration when the tool you finally pick doesn't line up with the real work you do. In this review, I'm going to break down the Leica Geosystems Rugby 620, the kind of projects it actually shines on, the scenarios where it might be more than you need, and where you'll see the biggest return on your investment. Link is in the description if you want to check the product details on Amazon. First off, let's set the stage. The Rugby 620 is a single-axis rotary laser that self-levels, but it only offers a manual slope option. That means you get a perfectly horizontal plane automatically, and you can tilt that plane yourself when you need a grade. For a contractor who spends half the day setting up a level reference for interior walls, a drywall crew marking a ceiling height, or a landscaper laying out a flat patio surface, that combination can shave off a lot of the fine-level point and locket time that usually drags a job out. The biggest practical strength here is exactly what Leica advertises: a boost in productivity for leveling tasks. Because the unit levels itself in a matter of seconds, you skip the tedious manual tripod adjustments that older models demand. Imagine you're on a commercial remodel, needing a level line across a 70-foot room. You set the laser on a tripod, press the self-level button, and within 10 seconds you have a continuous, true horizontal line that you can reference with a detector. No need to walk around checking bubble levels or rezeroing the laser. That speed translates directly into fewer crew hours, which is where the real dollar savings happen. But the Rugby 620 isn't a one-size-fits-all solution. It's a single-axis laser, so it only projects a line, not a full planar grid. If you're in a job that requires a 3D reference, say, setting a slope for a drainage trench that runs in two directions, or grading a large foundation slab where you need a plane that spans both length and width, you'll quickly find yourself reaching for a dual-axis model or a separate grading laser. The manual slope function is useful, but you have to set the angle yourself with a built-in inclinometer and a small lever. That's fine for simple 2% or 5% grades, but it can become cumbersome if you need to switch between several different slopes on the same site. Another hidden trade-off is range versus battery life. The Rugby 620 is designed for medium-range applications, think up to a few hundred feet under good conditions. If you're working on a sprawling site, say a 500-plus foot excavation, you might need to add a remote detector or a relay, which adds both cost and complexity. The unit runs on rechargeable batteries that give you roughly a full day of moderate use, but if you're constantly on the move and using the detector at the far end of the beam, you'll notice the runtime dip faster than with a larger capacity laser. For a small to medium contractor who finishes most jobs in a single day, that's a non-issue. For a large civil crew, it becomes a planning point. Now, who should actually consider the Rugby 620? If you're a framing carpenter, a drywall installer, an interior remodeler, or a small-scale landscaper who primarily needs a reliable horizontal line and occasional manual slope, this laser checks the right boxes. The self-leveling feature eliminates the "is this really level" doubt, and the manual slope knob gives you enough flexibility for simple grading without having to buy a separate device. The price point sits comfortably between entry-level rotary lasers that require manual leveling and high-end dual-axis systems that cost a small fortune. For a business that values quick setup and consistent accuracy over multiplane complexity, the Rugby 620 offers a sweet spot. On the flip side, if your typical work involves large-scale grading, road construction, or any scenario where you need a full plane across both axes, you'll likely be better off looking at a dual-axis laser. The same goes for anyone who needs a laser that can throw a beam over a half-kilometer distance without a relay. You'll end up spending extra on accessories that could have been avoided by choosing a model built for that range from the start. Also, if you're a hobbyist who only needs a basic level line once a month, the Rugby 620 might feel like overkill. A cheaper, manual leveling rotary laser could meet those infrequent needs without the extra self-leveling circuitry. A practical weakness that tends to be overlooked until the unit is in the field is the detector compatibility. The Rugby 620 works best with Leica's own line of detectors, which are calibrated for the laser's specific wavelength and pulse rate. You can, of course, use third-party detectors, But you may notice a